Hello, good morning. My name is Parneet Kaur and my group members are Jashanpreet Kaur Gill, Nappreet Kaur, Priyanka, Romanpreet Kaur, Arshdeep Singh and Uday Sharma. My topic is ranking garage and sales by JJ. In this presentation, we are covering the content, the case background and the context. Second one is legal principles and the duty of care. Third one, court decisions and the reasoning, and we are end up by the conclusions and implications for the future cases. In the next slide, I will talk about the case background and the context. In this, we can read the overview of the incident involving JJ, incident summary. The incident involving JJ centers around a dispute arising from the alleged negligence claim where JJ action at Rankin Garage led to significant property damage, prompting legal action for the garage owners. And we can also talk about the parties involved in this case. The first one is plaintiff overview. In this ranking, garage sales as the plaintiff seeks compensation for the damage in occurred due to the JJ allied negligence, representing a business entity focused on the automotive services and sales. And the second one is defendant profile. JJ, the defendant, is an individual whose actions are central to the case, accused of causing property damage while interacting with the services provided by the ranking garage. The third one is legal representation. Both parties are expected to be represented by the legal counsel specializing in the tort law, which will play a crucial role in presenting their respective arguments and the evidence during the procedure. The next slide will be discussed by my friend Jashanpreet Kaur Gill.
Legal claims and allegations. First one is negligence claim overview. The primary legal claim in the case revolves around negligence, where Reckins Garage alleges that JJ failed to exercise reasonable care and resulting in property damage and financial loss. Second is branch of duty. Wrecking Garage asserts that JJ breached a duty of care owed to them, arguing that his actions were not only carelessness but also directly lead to the accident that caused significant damage. Third is damage sought. The plaintiff seeks compensatory damage for the losses accused, including repair cost and potential loss of business revenue, emphasizing the financial impact of JJ's legally negligence on their operations. The next slide is initial court ruling. Court preliminary
किथे चल गई?
legal claims and allegations. First one is negligence claim overview. The primary legal claim in the case revolves around negligence, where Rakin Garage legally allega- alleges that JJ failed to exercise reasonable care, resulting in property damage and financial loss. Second is breach of duty. Rakin Garage asserts that JJ breached a duty of care owed to them, arguing that his actions were not only careless but also directly lead to the incident that caused significant damages. Third one is damage sought. The plaintiff seeks compensatory damage for the losses including repair cost and potential losses of business revenue, emphasizing the financial impact of JJ legal negligence on their operations. Next slide is initial court rulings. Court preliminary findings. The initial court ruling highlighted the necessity of establishing a duty of care, determining the JJ's actions could potentially meet their hold for negligence based on the circumstances presented. Second is evidence assessment. The court emphasizes the importance of evaluating evidence, including witness testimonies and expert opinions, to ascertain the validity of Rakin Garrard's claim against JJ. Impact on case progression. The initial ruling set is presented for further legal proceedings, indicating that the case would proceed to trial to explore the nuance of liability and damage in great detail. That's all. And the second slide is represented by Navpreet Kaur.
Next slide is legal principles and duty of care. Definition of duty of care in tort law. The duty of care in tort law refers to the legal obligation of individuals or entities to adhere to a standard of reasonable care while performing acts that could foreseeably harm others. This principle is found, foundational in negligence claims, as it established the threshold for liability by determining whether defendant actions were sufficiently careless to warrant legal responsibility for any resulting damages. Next slide is application of duty of care in this case. Duty of care analysis. In the case Rakin's Garage and Sales VJJ, the application of duty of care hinges on whether JJ actions were foreseeable and if he breached the standard of care expected in commercial setting, thereby establishing a direct link between his conduct and the damages incurred by the garbage. Understanding foreseeability. Foreseeability in tort law refers to the ability of predict anticipate the potential consequences of one's actions in the conduct of Reagan's garbage garage and sales VJJ. It is crucial to determine whether JJ could have reasonably foreseen that his actions would lead to the damage claimed by the garage, thereby influencing the assessment of liability. The next slide is presented by Robinpreet Kaur.
ये तो मेरी नहीं सी मेरी सी 9th 10th
ਉਹ ਦੁਬਾਰਾ ਨਾਪ੍ਰੀਤ ਦੁਬਾਰਾ ਬੋਲ ਦੋ ਕਾਫੀ ਵਰਡ ਵਿੱਚ ਖਰਾਬ ਹੋਏ ਆ ਦੁਬਾਰਾ ਆਪਾਂ ਐਡਿਟ ਕਰ ਲਾਂਗੇ ਕੋਈ ਨਹੀਂ ਉਹ ਦੁਬਾਰਾ ਬੋਲ ਦੋ ਵਿੱਚੋਂ ਨਾ ਜਿਆਦਾ ਤੁਸੀਂ ਪਹਿਲਾਂ ਪੜ੍ਹੀ
Next slide is legal principles and duty of care. Definition of duty of care in tort law. The duty of care in tort law refers to the legal obligation of individuals or entities to adhere to a standard of reasonable care while performing acts that could foreseeably harm others. This principle is foundational in negligence claims, as it establishes the threshold for liability of determining whether a defendant's actions were sufficiently careless to warrant legal responsibility for any resulting damages. Next slide is application of duty of care in this case. Duty of care analysis. In the case Rakin's Garage and Sales v. JJ, the application of duty of care hinges on whether JJ actions were foreseeable and if he branched the standard of care expected in commercial setting, thereby establishing a direct link between his conduct and the damages incurred by the garage. Understanding foreseeability. Foreseeability in tort law refers to the ability to predict and anticipate the potential consequences of one's actions in the context of Rankin's Garage and Sales v. JJ. It is crucial to determine whether JJ could have reasonable foreseen that his actions would lead to the damages claimed by the garage, thereby influencing the assessment of liability. Next slide will be represented by Priyanka.
The next slide is foreseeability and its role in liability. The concept of foreseeability play an pivotal role in established liability, as courts often evaluate whether a defendant's conduct was a foreseeable caused by harm. In this case, the court's interpretations of foreseeability will significantly affect the outcome regarding JJ's responsibility for the damages occurred by ring garage. Next slide is court decisions and reasoning. Trials, courts, fundings, and rationals. Other is assessments of negligence. The trial court found that JJ actions did not act with the level of care that is normally expected in the business setting. Because of this, his actions play a direct role in causing the harm experienced by Rink's garage. Second is cautions links established. The court stressed the importance of proving the direct connection between JJ's actions and the damages that happened. Its decisions and the evidence showed clearly that JJ clearance was major reasons of the indicate that Rinken garage. So next slide will be represented by Jubanpreet.
Ontario Court of Appeals upholding of a duty of a care. Affirmation of a legal standards. The Ontario Court of Appeal upheld the trial court's decision, reinforcing the legal standards surrounding the duty of a care by emphasizing that JJ's actions were foreseeable and constituted a breach, thereby establishing a clear precedent for a future negligence cases involving similar circumstances. The next slide is the dissenting opinions and a majority decision. The dissenting opinions in a Rankin Garage and Sales with JJ highlighted concerns regarding the majority interpretation of a forcibility, arguing that the majority failed to adequately consider the context of a JJ's actions. and the potential for alternative explanations for the incident which could undermine the established duty of a care and led to an unjust outcome. The next part will be continued by Arshdeep.
Hello everyone. My slide regarding implication of the ruling. First one, legal example established. The ruling in ranking garage and sales VVJJ sets a significant example regarding the interpretation of duty of care, influencing how future negligence cases may be adjudicated, particularly in commercial contexts. Second one, impact on liability standards. This case clarifies the standards for establishing forcibility in negligence claims, potentially leading to stricter liability for individuals and businesses whose action result in harm to others. Third one, guidance for future cases. In implications of the ruling provides essential guidance for legal examples, emphasizing the importance of thorough evidence evolution and the necessity of demonstrating a clear causal link between actions and damages in similar cases. Next slide regarding conclusion and implication for future cases. Summary of key findings. First one, the first duty of care affirmed. The court's ruling in ranking garage and sales VVJJ reaffirmed the necessity of establishing a duty of care, rephrasing that JJ actions were forcible and constituted a breach of this duty. Second one, caution and a liability. A significant finding was the establishment of a direct causal link between Jage's negligence and the damages incurred by Rankin Garage, which is critical for liability in negligence claims. Third one, the example for future cases. This case set a vital role regarding the interpretation of forcibility and duty of care in commercial contexts, influencing how similar negligence cases may be adjudicated in the future. The remaining slide will be provided by Uday. Thank you.
Hello friends, my name is Uday. Now I am talking about impact on legal precedents. Establish of duty of care. The ruling in Renican Garage and Sales v. JJ significantly reinforces the legal framework surrounding the duty of care, establishing clear guidelines for future neglect cases, particularly in commercial settings where foreseeability and reasonable conduct are critical factors in determining liability. And the second one is influence on future litigations. This case sets a precedent that may influence how court interpret neglect claims, potentially leading to stricter standards for liability and encouraging business to adopt more hard safety measures to mitigate risks associated with reasonable and with foreseeable harm to others. And the next slide is enhanced risk management practices. It is recommended that business implement comprehensive risk management strategies, including regular training for employees on safety protocols and the establishment of clear operational guidelines to minimize the likelihood of neglect claims, similar to those seen in Renican's garage and sales VJG. And the next slide is about for question and answers. And the first question is what was the key issue in the case of Renican's garage way sales VJJ?
Like about answer, the central issues in this case was whether ranking garage owned by a duty of care to prevent a car from being stolen from its premises, especially when the thief was a mirror, and whether the garage should have foreseen the possibility of harm. Specifically, it concerned whether a business, in this case a garage, could be injuries caused by someone stealing a vehicle and then getting into an accident. Next question will be given by Parneet.
The next question is, what was the Supreme Court of Canada's decision on this case? The answer will be discussed by the Jashanpreet Kaur Gill.
The Supreme Court of Canada ruled the Rankin Garage did not own a duty care of plaintiff JJ, who was injured in a car accident after a car was stolen from the garage. The court held that while Rankin Garage may have been negligent in leaving cars unsecured, it was not reasonable foreseeable that a person would steal the car and suffer injury. Thus, no duty of care was established, and Rankin Garage was not found liable for the injury.
Third question I will give to Robin. What was the role of the minors in this case, and how did their action impact the court ruling?